If you ain't first, you're last. Those are the immortal words spoken by Ricky Bobby from the 2006 satirical classic, Talladega Nights. Could this also be a loose reflection of our present world of social media positioning? Maybe. What do you think? The current social obsession with ourselves, as best-selling author and tech wizard Ryan Levesque frames it, seems to have a connection point here. For some people, this may be a bit strange. Strange in how it connects to the world of fundraising for your nonprofit ministry, your cause, or your outreach. So how does that all connect? Let me explain in a few short thoughts. One contrasting expression you may have heard that was written a few years earlier says, "The first will end up last and the last will end up first." You can reference this in your favorite translation of Matthew 20:16. So who is right? Ricky Bobby or Jesus Christ? Well, maybe the better question is, how do both statements help you? How do they frame your mission statement for increased growth and greater impact? In fact, how do you present, ask, and receive more resources to better conduct and achieve the reasons for your existence? Mainly those resources that are financial in nature, those liquid assets such as cash that go along with gifts in kind and planned giving. To answer those questions, let's take a look at a few of the counterproductive paths that some nonprofits are taking. Let's also look at a few of the safer and more reliable paths that have a long history of achieving a greater success. When teaching fundraising at the Leadership Institute in Washington, D.C., one of my first steps is to look at each nonprofit's materials. Some students show me their direct mail appeals, some their annual reports, and others bring their PowerPoints and slide decks, and in some cases they show their mission statement brochure. The vast majority of materials reviewed have one common problem. You might call it the Ricky Bobby syndrome. That means the organization presents itself first, and the donor, by default of two, comes in last. In this instance, as well as in NASCAR speak, if the donor isn't first, then the donor is last. Case in point, a recent 2-page mission statement was sent to me for an always available complimentary review, and it showed these results. The number of we, our, and I statements that the organization used were 26. The number of you and your donor-related statements that were used were 3. Yes, you need to demonstrate, explain, and confirm what you do. No, you don't need to do it at the expense of your donor's interest. Your donor is searching, and not always transparently so, for reasons not to give to you. In every transaction, we fundraisers are banking on a 3-step decision tree that all donors use. These are, do I know you? Do I like you? And do I trust you? Or KLT, as it is commonly called. Donors have to first know you before they can like you, and they have to like you before they will ever trust you. No trust, then no gift. No like, then no trust. And no know, then no like. One of the best ways for a donor to like you is for you to like them first. That's the Jesus way, so to speak. Put your donors and their interest in front of your purpose and credentials. For sure, you need to validate who you are and what you do, but do it in conjunction with affirming your donor's value creation before you do your own value substantiation. Begin with, what's in it for my donor? That's their starting point, so make it your starting point too. Then move on to, what do you want them to do? Followed by, how do you want them to do it? These are the 3 magic steps in any donor engagement, or in any consumer behavior engagement for that matter. This is the convergence of the last being first and the first being last, and with both being of significant importance and prominence. It's the same message, it's just a little different positioning. Your message doesn't have to change, just alter your anchoring of who's on first, to borrow from Abbott and Costello's brilliant 1938 comedy routine. This also applies to the convergence of AI into traditional fundraising techniques such as direct mail. AI's speed with its semi-simplicity, data gathering, and information distribution needs to be formatted with the care and appreciation of your donors in mind. Many times, a nonprofit's information is presented for approbation or approval rather than for confirmation. Another prime example of such a missed opportunity was when one institutional nonprofit wanted to show pictures of how happy their staff members were when they were treating patients. How much better would it have been to have taken the position of showing how relieved the patients were in receiving the treatment that the donors provided? Almost without exception, donors don't care how happy a nonprofit staff are. Donors care about how happy those are that they are helping. The joy is helping those people who have a need, not in helping staff members who already have a paycheck. Once again, this is a prime example of mistakenly putting one's organization first and putting one's donors last. In this fundraising journey of Castle Roads, we will travel behind the green AI curtain to speak about what donors want, not about what some misguided board edict says should be covered, or bowing down to the cost-cutting god, lowercase, of always seeking the answer through simply eliminating expenses. There are 4 ways to change the bottom line. Cutting costs is only one way. 3 other more valuable ways are in existence for the wise user. As with the Wizard of Oz, who gave away a heart, brain, and courage to his seekers, or at least the illusion of, we fundraising stewards of a communication need to give our hearts first to our donors' interest. We need to train our brain to think about how important our donors are to the care and outreach that we are providing through them. And we need the courage to boldly express our appreciation to them by placing them first and us last. Our donors deserve that. They have earned the position of greater importance. They are entitled to confirmation, validation, appreciation, and demonstration that their interests are indeed working to make our world a better place. As mentioned in the previous newsletter, this approach is not always the most popular with the upstairs management, boards, or self-proclaimed watchdogs. It is rather, and more times than not, the personal path that our donors seek, ask for, and eventually will find, whether it's with us or with somebody else. Kindness and caring about another person is always rewarded, even if only rewarded by the simple but significant act of giving with a sincerity that can be trusted. In our next issue of Castle Journey, we'll travel further into the hows and whens of putting the donor first and the organization last, a position so that the last or the least of these can be served more often, in more ways, with more assistance. Until then, travel well in your journey. E. Paul.